I picked up these fantastic sweet potatoes, red peppers and pumpkin from my garden this morning at the farmer's market, and they're just fantastic. Just forgot the parsnips as well, so they are delicious, and they only come around, you know, this short period of time of year, so whenever they do I just can't help but roast them. They're just fantastic roasted, so they're definitely going in this dish. So we're just going to chop up all the veggies and put them in the oven. I've already turned my oven on. I've got it on about 200 degrees. And I just want a sort of rustic, quite chunky texture for this beautiful quinoa salad. So you can get that lovely crispy outside and a lovely soft inside of the sweet potato. And what I love about sweet potatoes is, whilst the pumpkin's orange, they're quite an unusual colour for food. They're sort of orangey, but there's almost a sort of pinkish apricot-y tone to them as well. They're just lovely. I'm just going to cut those on a bit of an angle, just to have a bit of a different shape. I always think it's great just to play around with the way that you cut vegetables. Just by cutting the vegetables in a different angle or a different shape, you really can change the subtlety of a dish and the way the vegetables cook. So I'm just going to throw that on. And then I'm going to cut this pumpkin. I think I had 2 wild vines that came out of my compost, and there must have been 30 or 40 pumpkins off each, and we've just had such a fantastic year of pumpkins. And I must say I've mostly roasted them because they're so sweet, they caramelise in their own sugars, and they really don't need much more than that. I mean, I have made pumpkin soup and I have done some other sort of classic pumpkin dishes, but really, roast pumpkin, you can't beat it. So just going to cut the skin off here. This is just the way I do it, but I don't mind cutting a bit of the flesh off so you get that tinged green skin off. And look, sometimes I actually leave the skin on when I'm roasting pumpkin wedges or something, if I'm just having a plate of roast vegetables with a salad or something like that. And again, just random chunky sort of shapes. I think it sort of adds to this fantastic kind of rustic dish style. Quinoa is a South American grain that's been in, more in the West in the last sort of 5 to 10 years. And prior to that, it was, I think it was found in Machu Picchu, sort of Bolivia, Peru, around those areas. And I think that's about right. We've got similar sort of sizes. You don't want to cut anything too small because they're all going on the tray together and you want them to cook around a similar time. So that's looking pretty good. I'm just going to pop the red peppers in the middle of the tray, and I'm going to do something different. Look, I know you can burn the skins off, you can roast them whole and then peel them, but I'm looking for as quick a possible way of preparing them as I can. So I'm just going to cut the top off and take the middle and the seeds out and just try and pull out as much of the thin membrane on the inside as you can. And then simply cut it in half, and then with the skin facing upwards, so that the outside skin can just blister and blacken, and then we can just peel that off without having to worry about the sticky mess and the seeds getting everywhere. And it's just really ready to go because it's been de-seeded, and we will peel the skin off. And I'm going to go for 2 of these. So again, just chopping off the top and pulling out the middle. So I'm going to throw them in as well. So, okay, now we've got all of that cut and ready, and it's a nice big hearty tray. I'm just going to douse it with some olive oil. I like to be quite generous with my olive oil. I think it's really nice for the veggies to coat and to crisp up on the bottom. Some people, don't like oil because it's, it's not healthy or whatever, but look, I think it's okay. It's not something I eat every day, so I don't mind too much. I'm going to crack some fresh pepper over the top as well. Again, I'm going to put some wonderful pink Himalayan fine salt across. I'm just going to get the rosemary, which I picked from my garden this morning. I'm just going to take out, a couple of sprigs and just with your fingers just slide down the rosemary. And again, it's this rustic, toss it over, nothing too precious. You can do it quite quickly and just making sure it's completely covered in this gorgeous rosemary. I just love the smell. It's so uplifting and beautiful. So I think that's it, ready to go in the oven. While I've got the roast vegetables on, I'm just going to cook my quinoa off. So just placing roughly a cup. This will feed 4 people generously. And for every cup of quinoa, you want about 2 cups of water. So it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So then just pop that on high. And when it comes to the boil, we want to boil it for about 5 minutes. Then you can turn it down to a simmer and then just let it gently simmer and keep an eye on it. After it's simmered for about 10 minutes, I'll have a look and check it, and then we'll turn it off. One thing about quinoa is that it is such a fantastic grain to eat. It's a complete protein. It's a very digestible protein. It's also very easy to digest in general, and it's a very strengthening. It's full of minerals and vitamins. It really is a superfood. Now for the mint and pistachio pesto. I always like to chop up the mint roughly, and I actually do use some of the stem. I know that could be a chefy no-no, but I find it, as long as it's not tough or woody, I don't mind it. It's all part of the flavour and the texture. Just take off some of those end leaves or hand pick them off. It's probably a bit faster. And just pop that into the blender. And then I'm just going to whiz it on its own with the olive oil. And the reason I do that is because I don't want to crush down my pistachio nuts too small. I love to have that rustic, slightly chunky texture. Not too chunky, but definitely not a puree of pistachios. So I'm going to put roughly half a cup of olive oil. And then I'm going to add this gorgeous pistachio. I just can't get over the colour. I love that natural sort of purple, sort of mauvey colour against that lovely bright green. It's just fantastic. It's almost a shame to crush them up because you get that lovely purple colour in them. But we're going to throw half a cup of those pistachios in, and then roughly a level teaspoon of salt. You can always add more salt, but you can't take it away. And then I've just got a clove of garlic. It's that wonderful Russian garlic, so it's not too strong, which is perfect for this sort of dish. And I'm actually just going to use half a clove of garlic because I don't know what Sarah and Alan's taste buds are like. So I'm just going to add some garlic to that. I just want to scrape down the sides once again to make sure that we don't have any big chunky bits of pistachio, and just push it down. And I do want a bit of a rustic texture, so I don't mind a few nuts, but I don't want too many whole nuts in the proceeds. So again, just blend them again. So then just grab a bowl. We can pop it in here just to wait until we're ready to serve it. I love the texture that this dish can offer because you're going to have the odd little whole nut that you're going to chew into with the softness of the quinoa and, the soft squishiness of the roast vegetables. It's going to be fantastic. Look at that sort of glistening, shiny, luscious texture and colour of the pistachios. Just looks so gorgeous. So now that I've got the mint pesto done, we'll just quickly check the quinoa. Now the thing with quinoa is you'll see that it starts to cook, and when it's about 80 or 90% cooked, it'll have like a little uncooked white dot in the centre of the quinoa grain. And this is the trick to getting it nice and fluffy. So at this point, to me, it looks like it probably needs just another 5 minutes on this low simmered heat that I've got it on. And then we can just probably turn it off and let it steep while I do the next and final part of the dish. And then we'll put it all together. So now I'm going to make the rustic sauce. And what I'm looking for is a really chunky, textured, something just to sort of toss over the top of the salad once we combine it all together. So just grabbing an onion and just cutting it in half and then taking the ends off. And I'm just going for the half moon shape. Don't want to cut it too thick because it'll just take longer to cook. Whilst we're doing this, I'm also going to saute in a little bit of water some green beans, and this is just going to add a little bit of green colour to the roasted veggies, orange and creamy sort of colours. About 1 millimetre thick, all of the onion, and just discard the bits that I don't need, and then the rest, the other half. So I'm going to just turn the frying pan onto a hot heat and just drizzle in a good tablespoon of oil, and in go the onions. So we want them to slowly caramelise, or not too slowly, so just giving that a bit of a jiggle round so the oil gets coated around the pan a little bit. And then we're going to throw the cherry tomatoes in whole. You can prick them, but actually I'm just going to throw them in like that. While that's cooking, I'm going to pop the beans in. I've just topped those beans so they're ready to go, and I'm going to leave them in whole. So just going to pop them into the frying pan here. Turn on that to a nice warm heat. And I'm just going to add a little bit of water, so I'm not quite frying the beans or sauteing the beans. I'm just sort of steaming them and cooking them with a little bit of water, just to sort of bring out the green colour and keep them nice and vibrant. And you can already see now that the onions are just starting to brown and soften, and the colour's changing in the onion skin. So just to sort of speed up and enhance the caramelised flavour of the sweet onions, just drizzle in some fantastic balsamic vinegar. And look, we've got a symphony of sound here. It's absolutely beautiful. And just give the beans a bit of a toss around. And these are also starting to turn a bright, gorgeous colour. I'm going to quickly check the roast veggies. Yeah, they're not too far off. So this dish is going to all come together in just a moment. The quinoa's ready, and I'm just going to burst and squeeze a few of these tomatoes down, and the skins are starting just to peel off now. And a little bit of the juice from the tomatoes is oozing out, which is just going to help create a bit of a sauce. And that blackening isn't burning, it's just the balsamic vinegar colouring the onions and the cherry tomatoes. So they're looking like they're getting quite close to collapsing. I'm now going to add some caper berries, and I've got these lovely small ones that are in a really nice brine, and we're just going to pop them in, and that vinegary texture is just going to really do wonders with our sauce here. So just pour those in. And of course you're going to get that lovely flavour of the capers as well. And then I've just got some pitted whole Kalamata organic olives, of course. Everything's organic. I know I haven't really said that very much, but all of this food is wonderfully organic. Most of it is local, and that is the joy and the pleasure of cooking for me. And so you can see what I mean by rustic. It really is a very sort of chunky, textured, going to have the lovely red colour of the cherry tomatoes. So maybe just another splash of the balsamic vinegar just to soften the tomatoes a bit further and the onions. And I'm just going to turn that to a low heat. And the beans, they're looking quite ready as well. Oh, perfect. Definitely turn them off. And I think we're almost ready to assemble it now. So just fluffing up the quinoa, and as you can see, it's just beautifully fluffy and light. Put the quinoa into a bowl. It's still nice and warm, but not piping hot. And then we're going to toss the veggies over the top. Let's pull them out of the oven. Just going to take the peppers out first so I can just actually cut them up and de-skin them and all of that. And then in go all the vegetables, all with the crusty, crispy rosemary, and in it all goes. All golden and soft in the middle. And this is just a fantastic warm winter salad. Oops. Fantastic. So I'm just going to add the green beans now. Look at that colour, that's just so gloriously green. And against those really nice golden tones of the root vegetables, it's fantastic. And then now for the final touch, the red peppers. So I've already just de-skinned those, and now I'm just going to cut them up in the bowl. And just, again, just really rustic. I just want the odd flash of red here and there, and that will just bring out the reds and the golds. So yeah, it just doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be delicious. We'll add those to the mix. What a gorgeously abundant bowl we have here. I'm going to just quickly douse a little bit of olive oil just to dress it. Just a tiny splash of the balsamic vinegar as well. Just enough to add a bit of flavour. So I'm just going to add a pinch of salt, and then we can taste it again at the end. So just lightly tossing that around just to bring the quinoa up. So it's really nice to just get very gently underneath the quinoa and very loosely toss it so that you don't crush the pumpkin and the sweet potato too much. I mean, it's great to have a little bit of it smashed up. But look, there's our very fabulous golden salad. So now all I need to do is plate that up. We've got the sauce ready, and I've got the pesto here ready. I'll just pop a teaspoon in there, ready to serve that up. So again, it's the whole theme of this dinner, if I haven't said it enough, is it is a bit rustic. So it's okay just to let the vegetables fall wherever they want to. I like to just make sure I get a little bit of that red flashing in there and make sure I've got a little bit of everything. So you just want to grab a nice clean tea towel and just pushing the odd random little rogue balls back in. And then just to finish it all off, we're going to add this wonderful rustic sauce, and it's going to add some beautiful textures and flavours as well. It is a nice chunky sauce. So just going to drizzle a bit of the onion to the centre of the plate there. So this is the mint and pistachio pesto that I made earlier. So again, I love to pile a nice big blob on the top and then just random blobs around the plate, and then each one can be swept into a mouthful of quinoa. So it's nice to be generous with it. And if that isn't already enough, we're just going to add just some nice fresh greenery, and I've got a little bit of black elk and rocket that I've got from my garden this morning, and look, that's just so beautifully fresh. It doesn't need too much, it is quite a busy dish. And that's it. A beautiful rustic quinoa roast vegetable salad with a mint and pistachio pesto, and we've also thrown in there for decadence a nice chunky rustic tomato and caramelised onion and olive sauce. So it's ready to eat.